Το όνομά μου Παναγιώτης Boyagis. I'm from Varosi, my roots. I understand Mr. Apostolides about his feeling, his thoughts, his memories. I have the same for my country, for Varosi. Just to confirm what you think. My question is, and it's close to the question of the gentleman over the airport, the European Court has pushed it back now to the British courts. Can you just please clarify what the British courts can do, and in view of the circumstances, can, and I don't know, can a political decision be made on this to counter the European Court? And I'd like to pass this to Mr. Frangaskidis because he's dealing with English law. And one other thing, I've noticed in Cypriot magazines that they're promoting holidays to Turkey. Can please someone do something about this?
I think the first point to make, as I said in my presentation, the European Court of Justice decision is binding under EU law in all EU member states. So this is a point of principle. It's binding in all EU member states in relation to similar facts, similar people in similar situations to Mr. Apostolides. Your question was directed as to what could happen next in the Court of Appeal. Now, obviously, the basic situation is this decision is binding. The Court of Appeal have asked the European Court of Justice for a view. So, technically, it's binding on them. Now, what Constantis has mentioned is that there are other potential issues which the Court of Appeal could look to. Now, I would rather not have that debate here, personally, but there are potential ways where the Court of Appeal might look to other issues. And that's really for the legal team. I don't think we should be sitting here discussing, personally, the sort of issues. I mean, Constantin mentioned public policy, which is one of them. The Court of Appeal might look to some sort of internal domestic public policy of the United Kingdom, that this decision, not this decision, because it's binding on them, but something else that could find a way around the ramifications, i.e. not perhaps register this judgment against the Orams. That's why we are caveating and saying we have to keep fighting, we have to go to the Court of Appeal and pursue this claim and our case. So we're not out of the woods yet, but this is a significant decision on a point of EU law as to the construction and interpretation of Article 1 of Protocol 10. I don't know if I've answered your question, but it's there are some issues there. Constantis mentioned some. I'd rather not mention them all.
It's the only one.
With regard to travel to Turkey, well, that was what was said, but I think you mentioned about advertisements for. Yes, well, you must be aware of the fight we had with London Transport or Transport for London, and we temporarily had all those posters removed, and then they went to court and they were found to be doing so legally. So there's not a lot we can do really, and
I'm talking about Cypriot magazines published on site.
Cypriot magazines published in Cyprus, advertising holidays. Well, let's not go there because, Cypriots living on both sides are traveling and crossing the green line now, so what's right and what's wrong. I think that is up to the individual and his sense of responsibility towards his duties in his country. I think there's a gentleman there with sporting a little beard. Quite a few of them, really.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Konstantinidis. I'd like to thank Mr. Apostolides and all the other refugees as well as Dina Loizidou, because these are the people that have actually given us hope. My father's from Kyrenia. My father's from Kyrenia, and I'm 23 years old, and I want to go back to my father's house. And we don't want neither compensation, neither exchanges. We want the right of property. So I think the messages doesn't have to go only to Turkey and to the international community. Some messages have to go to our leadership, political leadership, that we have the legal right to return, and the political problem of Cyprus is a legal one too, and the leadership should see that we have a legal shield that they should use. We have legal weapons that they should actually use more efficiently, and realize that negotiating on the philosophy of another Annan plan is not acceptable to the Cypriot people. My question is regarding Brussels 1 regulation, because with Brussels 1 regulation, about the case, is it only based on nationality, on EU nationality? Because we've seen Turkish Cypriot press reports saying that they're going to turn towards targeting markets in Israel, Russia, etc. You've already dealt with the question. My question is, if a person from Israel or Russia, who's obviously not an EU national, but has assets, property in an EU country, is it based on property and assets or nationality? Is there a way around that?
Well, it is only worth going after people who have assets, because and one can go after someone who has assets in the European Union and is not an EU national. But there's no point running after anyone who doesn't have assets, be it an EU national or anyone else.
Ο κύριος εδώ.
Okay, my name is Antonis Boyatis. My question is actually direct, more of an impact on what this decision has on other areas regarding the Cyprus issue. And my question is, how does this, or does this affect those who own houses in the occupied territory who have inhabitants in there by Turkish settlers? So how does, I mean, we're talking about the language of trespassing on people's land. How does this decision have an impact on people who are actually living in actual properties built before the war, and what the impact this case has on that?
Your question is about Turkish settlers.
Yeah, Turkish settlers in our houses.
Okay, if you find a Turkish settler with adequate assets within the European Union, yes, go after him.
There with the glasses.
My name is Andreas Masora, and just briefly following from your point in terms of enforceability, to what extent would a judgment, say a hypothetical judgment involving, say, a Turkish settler be enforceable against Turkey if Turkey were to gain full membership of the EU? Thank you.
I can't see how the two will be related somehow. Personally.
Can I just try and clarify? Maybe
Yeah.
you can put it as simple as I can. If I have a house,
Yeah. You kind of